Welcome, race fans, to the final round of our G1 Championship. My name is Webbo here for the final time then, live on the channel for the fabulous G1 Championship. We are going to go racing for the sprint race momentarily. We're just going to get everything organised for you on the screen and we'll be underway. Focal in this reverse championship grid. Focal will start at the front with Phil in second, Mappy in third, Uncle Pants, followed by Red, Copa. In his bright gold metallic finish car with special for today. Flash in 7th, Nicky Lauder in 8th, Dirtbag Larry, Bijan, Tequila Monkey, Senor Fak and Dubby. It's a team mega sandwich, the race, and Focal gets us underway here at Road Atlanta, and we head into the sweeping turn 1 before heading into the switchback section of this fabulous circuit, and we get up close and personal to the number 18 as we head into the S's and we crest over the blind hill and then down, and this fabulous Road Atlanta Raceway is going to be our showcase for today's fantastic race here for the championship, and that looked to be a big deal for somebody. I think that was a little bit of lag there potentially. Let's have another look. I think possibly Bijan going a little bit mad here, possibly, as the lag on the car in front suddenly shooting forward, and wow, that was incredibly fortunate for our racers as it didn't actually eventuate in any kind of problem there. Tequila Monkey has got Senor Fak catching him on the straightaway, then out of turns 6 and 7 at the south side of the circuit, and we go at the fastest level through the very slight corners of turns 8 and 9 before heading up towards the turn 10 chicane. They will go in side by side then. That looks like Uncle Pants, and Focal has lost out in a big way, and I think is losing even more, and he spins. Unfortunately, Focal spinning down in the order. Let's try and find him. Here he is. And we go on into that chicane, and then it's a nerf from the Kimmy's Racing Team car in the background, and then he is just tagged once, twice, thrice. I think it's about 7 times in the end, Focal, and a full 360, unfortunately for him. I think the stewards will have a little bit of work to do post-race, but Phil is your new leader then in the Porsche for Team DeLacy with the end of season confetti, I think, on the hood. We've got Mappy in second, Uncle Pants in third, and they're the blindingly golden new Brokaga team car, and it looks like we've got a problem then for who is that? It looks like it is going to be Mappy then, the two drivers who started near the front of the grid, unfortunately having all kinds of issues here, getting a bit unsettled through the curbs, and then it is a one-way ticket into the tyre barrier, unfortunately for Mappy, and we look for drama in our sprint races, and we head then, and this track is so short and so frantic. We are already back at the chicane. It's only 6 laps as Copa pulls to one side of his teammate. The two Jaguars going head to head into the chicane, and it looks like that is Flash following through, possibly. Another shade of contact at the chicane there from the Jamplakt Interiors driver, but it looks like Uncle Pants is holding on the inside line as we run through then to start another lap, start the 3rd lap of the 6th. There goes Flash looking for that inside line once again, and Red is right there behind him as he's racing in the bright purple, and he's got the rainbow strips across the car. Looks like he's also got an Italian strip along the front there, as Flash has got the momentum coming through here. Of course, the soft tyres for everybody and muscled out of the way, and then it's Red who's the next one to go flying off the circuit, and he's got a long way to go on the way through there, unfortunately for him. So he's running down in the order now, making life a lot easier for the drivers at the back of the race, which is Dummy, Senor Fak, and Tequila Monkey, your reverse top 3 of the championship at the moment. Phil leads Copa and Flash, with then Senor Fak has the 2 Buckstein Transport Service cars in front of him as they run through in the beautiful bright white and teal colour scheme. That looks like Flash was paying a penalty there and drops 2 places behind the Buckstein cars. Looks like Dirtbag Larry's going to be alongside him, and Flash squeezes Dirtbag to the outside lane on the approach into that chicane, and Larry is forced to make his own arrangements as he runs through Absolutely, it seems like Flash quite happy with his villain status here in G1 as Dummy versus Dirtbag Larry is going to be the next piece of action. Looks like very defensive then from Senior Fact. Well, not defensive from Senior Fact, but it's Senior Fact moving his way through past Flash, and it's Nicky Lauda who was offline and trying to get through the next sequence of corners. It is very, very difficult. Looks like a mostly concrete raceway. With the extreme elevation change here at Road Atlanta, and on the way out of the S's, it is such a difficult job to keep adhesion on the racetrack, and it's Flash versus Dirtbag Larry next, and Tequila Monkey is closing in as well. It's Flash looking for that, that's Dummy looking for an opportunity on the inside of Dirtbag Larry. In front of him, he's got Senor Fac and Nicky Lauda. Senor Fac having got through, starting at the back. Phil still leads us ahead of Comacopa. Phil has a massive lead at the moment. Comacopa there in the golden Bro Cargo for the season finale with the two Buckstein cars. Everybody obviously on equal footing when it comes to our tyre selection, and Dummy goes launching it down the inside into the chicane, and he had a great run out of the double right. And now it looks like Dirtbag Larry still nibbling away at that rear diffuser of the Lexus. And we'll look for a flat-out run through the final corner, turn number 11 officially, as we run across the start-finish line. And we're into the final third of this sprint race. Tequila Monkey, but up from the near back of the grid. He's in that P9 at the moment. Looks like Senor Fac and Flash still struggling. That Porsche, a real handful through the switchback S's. It looks like the Lamborghini not faring a great deal better. Here comes Dummy, looking for that open door, which you'll never find when Flash is there, as he pushes a bit of a squeeze again in the braking zone, tries to take his racing line, but there was a Lexus on the outside lane through there. So you defend to the inside, you have to give room on the outside as per racing rules. There is Dummy in P7, and then we'll run down and uphill once again before pitching down and back up again before they get into that final chicane. The undulations making this Road Atlanta Raceway such an entertaining place to race. Bijan tucked up the back of Comacopa as they run through to start the final lap of this sprint race. Senor Fax in 5th. Dummy has got by Flash and is followed by Dirtbag Larry. And I think we're also about to see Tequila Monkey heading here as well. So that looks like Senor Fact. That's Dummy who managed to get the inside again. Lots of contact on the braking area. That slowed Flash down. Dirtbag Larry gets the inside lane on the way through. And guess who's going to try and follow him but no other than Tequila Monkey, who has made his way by Flash. Let's have a look if that one actually ended up being relatively clean. This is Tequila Monkey then, and Flash just making so much contact with this time Dirtbag Larry, and nothing he could do then as he lost his own momentum on the way through the next corners. So it looks like it's Larry who has been the main victim of the Flash tactics today. It's Phil in first, it's Comacopa in second, and Comacopa, despite getting up into a good starting order, is flashing red with fuel, not for the first time in this race day Sunday, unfortunately for him. That's Bijan missing out then on the with the penalty, unfortunately for him. It looks like we're going to go into that chicane though, and it's going to be Comacopa in second place. We're just looking back. Tequila Monkey and Flash continue to fight over the end of the race, but Phil wins the sprint here in Road Atlanta at the end of our season. Comacopa will cross the line just in second place ahead of Nicky Lauda, who was all over the back of the golden Jaguar. Senor Fac in 4th, Dummy in 5th, Bijan in 6th, Tequila Monkey, Dirtbag Larry and Focal, with Flash back in 10th position after an action-packed sprint race. Red in 11th, Uncle Pants in 12th, and Mappy, unfortunately, at the back of the grid. Amazing stuff then to have our sprint race. Nice little bit of action for the race. Welcome to Jailhouse Chris and to John Pauly, who joined just in time, I think. So good to see everybody. My apologies. Obviously, it was a sprint race, so lots of action happening. Do say hello if you've just joined us. This is the season finale as Aussie is cheering on Bijan. Great to get your support up front and central. Senil Fak had a fastest lap in the end. Phil Komakopa and Nicky Lauda, your podium, with Bijan dropping back thanks to that late race time penalty. Dummy into 5th place, scoring a few points then for his championship total. Tequila Monkey and Dirtbag Larry finishing in 7th and 8th. Focal in 9th, Flash in 10th, Red in 11th, Uncle Pants in 12th, and Mappy in 13th. That was our race, our sprint race. We're going to go in towards qualifying very soon. Hopefully that won't take too much of a turnaround for everybody. Let's go and have a look then at the standings in a moment, shall we? But we shall see how this is happening. Nicky said he's had to deactivate his stream because he's been so laggy. It may be that actually we're going to go straight into qualifying, in which case I will make a hasty visit back to our. There we go. I've just made sure we've got a decent temporary exposure correction. Just want to check the start time. The local start time is late morning for qualifying, so actually the temporary exposure, I just need to remember to turn this back when we get back into racing. Once we get everybody checked in, we will start qualifying pretty quickly. There's very little in the way of setup that needs to happen for that, and I just need to attend to a quick message here, and then I will be back with you any moment. So bear with me, please, just a moment as I get underway for the race. Okay, so my apologies for that small pause, but hopefully we will be underway for that qualifying session. I don't want to go straight into the current standings too early, but I think we've probably just about got time, thanks to that final message there from Matt, to look at our. Excuse me a moment. I hope you're enjoying the section of our website and the Race Engineer app. You can be part of today's broadcast as much as you would like to by making sure that you check out that Engineer app. You can tell me anything that's happening with drivers' tyres, or you can. I think you can find access to their Twitch streams as well. This is how the championship looks in the constructors side of things. 1 point separating Mega Racing and Kimi's racing team. It's going to be a really tricky situation to calculate the points then today with Dummy and Focal racing for Mega Red and Tequila Monkey racing for Kimi's, and trying to outscore Mega Racing by 1 point or 2. DeLessi, who have 250, are still very much within a shout of winning the outright title for G1. Bucksteam Racing probably out of contention now in 4th place, with Brokaga in 5th, Coach Dave in 6th, and Jamplacht with 147 in 7th position. We will be shortly underway then for the race, for the qualifying session, I should say. Sorry, sprint day is difficult, but yeah, it's there's a lot to cover. So excuse me, I just had a message from race director. Just need to respond to that. So sorry about that, but yes, this is the Constructors Championship. It is quarter to the hour. We've been told that the qualifying will start at this point. If you haven't said hello yet, please do so. Aussie's here for Kimi's. Jogon Sim congratulating Phil as always, and cheering on his DeLessi teammates. I'm sure everybody is really looking forward to this one. Yeah, it is the final time for this G1 racing. We will have G2 later in the week. Oh, hi to Kim as well. My apologies, Kim from Kimmy's. I missed your message there. I think we need a custom avatar saving on your YouTube account, and that will help me recognize Kim. Obviously cheering on. Yeah, that is going to be the situation. Yeah, okay. My apologies. Just Okay, so qualifying underway then momentarily for our final race of the season. It's going to be a fascinating run, a 1 hour race around Road Atlanta. Yeah, looking forward to seeing who is going to prosper, who's going to be the fastest out there in qualifying. We've got Dummy. I'm just going to click you over to the main screen. Hopefully Hector will recognize that it's qualifying, and we will be in position then. It is the number 33 then, Dummy, who is first out of the pits, and the gold metallic livery of Comacopa. Let's get up close to this one, shall we? Because he's gone pretty special for this run. Purple, gold, and green. The green not really very prominent on the gold, but it looks good nonetheless. Any rumours that that Comacopa was planning on blinding the other drivers in the golden hour of sunset here are completely scurrilous. I'm sure he would never do anything like that. Yeah, absolutely, we're waiting to see who is going to secure that pole position. We will join Dummy, I think, who will be taking on this Road Atlanta race, where you can see just how much, from the driver's point of view, the elevation change is pretty huge. We're going to see lots of overtaking attempts, I think, into the chicane here. Big cuts through the second part of the chicane. This is turn 10A essentially, and then into the final turn, turn 11, as we run over the start-finish line. We will watch every second of this first flying lap, which typically is the fastest on these soft tyres. We have very aggressive tyre wear credentials here as we run then after the first right, then through the right left sections of the circuit. You've got to get lined up with blind entries into the S's here, and then it's all about how much speed you can carry through here down to third gear to get the extra poke up the hill and back over the top of the crest. Really tricky to get this right. Then you've got a double right-hander. It's slightly more open, turn 6 here. Turn 7 is deceptively tight, and then it's about launching the car out of this turn, because this is the longest full throttle point on the racetrack. We're probably about to see the penalty chevrons there, the yellow signs on the side of the track. The drivers will go off throttle for the time delineated on the screen when we see them, before heading downhill. Downhill braking for the chicane is tricky, because then it goes uphill again, so often you're braking early and then you're off the brake again, because you've wrongly anticipated that there's a chance to turn up. So much more gradual through turn 11. Someone's already sent the cones flying, and that is a flying lap from Dummy, a 1:18.9. Comacopa much slower, unfortunately for him. Dirtbag Larry the next to go across the line. Let's see how Dirtbag Larry does. It's Tequila Monkey in second, excuse me. Dirtbag Larry goes into 4th place. Comacopa Flash in there, red, faster than Flash. Dirtbag Larry in 6th position. Mappy crosses the line, he goes 4th. Dirtbag Larry taking a very steady run through here. Phil goes 7th. We've got Uncle Pants about to cross the line. He stays 7th, I believe. Here comes Bijan, usually very quick racer. He goes into 5th place with Senor Fak. A long way out of contention here at this stage. It's Dummy, Tequila Monkey and Red. I think Dirtbag Larry probably taking a charge lap there. What was his time? 1:27.3, so he was being very gentle on the tyres. There are cones everywhere as Senor Fat comes across, and he goes into P2 straight away. We'll go back to that is Uncle Pants. I'm trying to get P12. Here is Focal then, trying to get his way up. It's P8. It's really important for Team Mega that the second driver, Focal, manages to do a good lap here. I'm waiting to see if our one of our favourites here, Dirtbag Larry in the Audi. He's already at the chicane once again. Such is the field spread through here. This is likely to be his fastest time, but that was very wide on the exit of the chicane. In towards the final turn then we go, and he goes a personal best, but it's only 10th place. Next up we've got Red, who's gone second. As he crosses the line, Red goes into second place by 1,000th of a second. Mappy goes fastest by 4/10ths of a second. Insane from Mappy. Brilliant lap from him. Well, let's see if Tequila Monkey, no, he's in P5 at the moment. Here comes Bijan from 6th. He goes 5th. Pips Bijan. Senor Fax heading down into the chicane. Absolutely crazy stuff. Fantastic from Mappy to get P1 coming through there. That's a real joker in the pack for the Coach Dave Delta team as we head through the final corner with Senor Fax, who takes the provisional pole then. A 1 minute 18.4. Astonishing lap from Senor Fax, but just underlining how good Mappy's lap was. I think the best of the tyres is probably gone. Mappy's already on the slowdown here after only 5 minutes, but other drivers will still be pushing hard. Red's in 4th. We've got Flash in P7 right now, which is astonishing to me, as he is the highest rated driver rated in the Gran Turismo daily race driver points. Through the chicane we go with Flash. It's a personal best. It's not purple though, as we go over that exit curb then out of turn 10A. Through turn 11 we go, and Flash from 8th goes 5th. That's more like it, from Flash into 5th place, just 200ths ahead of Bijan. Where is Tequila Monkey at the moment? He's heading through the next corner. I'll just try and find you a driver who is crossing the line right now. Uncle Pants has just been across the line. This is Phil. So it's Senor Fax. My suspicion here is that Senor Fax is not able to go much quicker, but his tyres still look pretty good, you have to say. Drivers are going to have to be really careful on pit entry here today. It's not a straightforward full throttle run in, but that was 2.5 seconds slower from Senor Fax. It looks like Mappy has probably used the best of the tyres as well. Jailhouse Chris, very happy I think with Mappy's lap there overall. Red's gone over the line. I'm not sure if Bijan is still pushing. Lots of drivers queuing up here on the way through. That looks like that's probably Uncle Pants off on the grass, the black and green, without being the golden shining Comacopa today. Here comes Bijan trying to get a little bit of slipstream on his run. We'll get an update on his lap as he comes through here. Doesn't look super quick, maybe, but he's 0.5 of a second slower than he's been before. Senor Fax from Mappy from Red are your qualifying positions at the moment. Again, another update perhaps on Senor Fax's next lap in the Atlanta sunshine. Phil sets a new personal best. He doesn't feature in the top 8 though, unfortunately. Only 1/4 of a second slower from Senor Fax this lap. So he's doing a pretty good job at the moment. And Senor Fax then through. He's leading by 1/100th of a second, rounded up from Mappy's lap. Red, Tequila Monkey, Bijan with dummy, only 6th place right now. That was a good lap from Senor Fax considering the tyre situation. 3/4 of qualifying have elapsed so far. It is Mappy in second. Red running in that P3 right now, 0.3 of a second only away from the pole position time. Red's been missing on vacation recently. Great to have Red back with us, one of the most popular members of the league, and hopefully Red's family, including Rents, are here. Do shout up, Rents, if you're watching with us. Red just getting a little bit wild as we're on camera with him. It's certainly gone to a very bright version of the purple today for the final race of the season. This is the more traditional racing colours with Tequila Monkey in P4 then. It's an all Kimmy's second row. Why is that so important? It's so important because the Ferraris jump off the line like nobody's business. Bijan sets a new record, and he actually deposes Tequila Monkey by the tiny margin of 0.06 of a second. Tequila Monkey is on a personal best lap right now though, and that is through sector, I want to say sector 1 only. It's quite a short lap here Let's have a look as Tequila Monkey comes out of the double right-hander. Looks like he's been able to find something through the S's on worn soft tyres. You can't change tyres in GT3. As Aussie is cheering on Kimmy's. We'll get his lap update right about now for Tequila Monkey. He's only 1.5 tenths of a second slower than he has been before, but that's all about traction, I think. Out of turn 7 into turn 10. The chicane of turns 10 and 10A, oddly named. I've promised anybody style points if they go airborne and hit the bridge today. Through 11 nice and smoothly, but the times just are not happening for our drivers. Dummy is the surprise so far, the number 33. Can't seem to get the performance out of the Lexus. Through the chicane we go. Let's see if there's anything left in our championship leader. As he runs through out across the line, and it's slower but just by 1/10 of a second. Jann is still going quick, I do believe. So that looks to be our qualifying session done and dusted. Flash has the world's most expensive lawnmower on the sidelines, and there is Phil in P9. His teammate Senor Fak looks to have secured the pole position there, and that's one toke saying Kimmy's is mid with Bijan. Very good job there on row 2, and just ahead of both Kimmy's cars in the end. Very, very clever, very good drive from him. But it is Senor Fak who has the pole position for our race, and hopefully we will be able to bring you a really, really special final race of the season. Senor Fak, 1/10 of a second only ahead of Mappy in the end, with the standout performance in qualifying, lifting himself. He started the sprint near the front because he's at the back of the championship. Special lap then from Mappy, a 1:18.517 on his second flying lap. Bijan in third place, a 1:18.6, with Red an 18.7 and Tequila Monkey an 18.8. That is a mouth-watering prospect, seeing our drivers so close to each other, as Dummy is in 6th and Flash is in 7th and Focal in that P8 to the finish of this qualifying session. Comacopa's just coming out of the pit lane. Not quite sure what that's about, Coma. He managed to get 10th position behind Phil's 9th place. Then we've got Dirtbag Larry and Uncle Pants in P12. In the traditional black and green colours of the Bro Carga team. So this qualifying session taking quite a long time to close out for us, unfortunately. I know we've got drivers who are keen to get on for other things on the sooner side of the end of tonight's broadcast. Senor Fak with a tremendous pole position then, the number 5, and that puts him in great position then to finish out this championship. We'll have a look at the standings in a few moments, and we've gone through the qualifying positions then a fair amount of times. So let's have a look then at the standings for the Drivers' Championship. So clicking over to the Drivers' Championship, you can see that Dummy has 202 points, is 8 ahead of Senor Fak. So it is still very much within the realms of possibility that Senor Fak can outscore Dummy by 9 points. Dummy is in the mid pack here, needs to survive lap 1 and get through clear and make sure he finishes certainly within a few places of Senor Fak. But 5 back-to-back consecutive wins for Dummy in the last 5 feature race rounds. Senor Fak with 3 consecutive wins and an additional win on top of that. It really has been the Senor Fak and Dummy show this qualifying run, as we look forward to seeing who is going to be crowned provisional champion at the end of today's broadcast. Tequila Monkey only has to worry really about Bijan catching him. Tequila Monkey with a normal race should be able to fix that 3rd position. Dirtbag Larry's in 5th with Nicky Lauda in 6th. Flash in 7th, just the same amount of points as Comacopa, but taking part in something like 5 fewer races, but has won 1 race, round 4 of the championship with Comacopa in P8. Scrolling down then to see Red in P9, Uncle Pants in 10th, Mappy in 11th. That is, say, Red has been missing for 2 of the last 3 rounds. Uncle Pants has attended every race and is in 10th with Mappy in 11th. Phil, Sock, Focal being your run then so far. Excuse me a moment. We'll just go back to the qualifying result. I'll leave that up on screen for a moment or two. And we wait for Hector to be refreshed. Let me know if you're able to access the engineer view. John Pauly is cheering on Senior Fact, saying fantastic lap in the end. Very good indeed. So Joe Gon Sim is just giving us an update on the Delessi scores in G2. Joe, could you limit your spoilers for G2 for me, please, if possible? I think we will probably have fewer watchers of the G2 race as well if you spoil the results. So if you can limit it to that, that would be super. Thank you, Joe. But I'm sure very happy with the job his Delessi teammates are doing. That's all about the combined championship standings at the moment. And there is Focal in P8. That's the tail end of the field at the moment. Just want to get back to our screen and we will just hear from race director. Actually, while we talk about the combined standings, why don't we take a good look at them? I think we can access them this way. This is the way things are looking at the moment in our combined teams championship. And this is the one that all the captains care a lot about, obviously. So getting on for, I think, 80 odd points ahead, Delessi ahead of Mega Racing coming into this race day today. So it would take an extraordinary change of fortunes for Delessi to lose that position, because we've only got, I think, something in the region of 50, maybe 60 points total, maximum achievable by any given team. So I think Delessi have probably already secured the team's title, much to my disappointment, as a Mega Racing amateur driver. Mega Racing in second, Kimmy's racing team in third. Pretty nailed on again. Kimmy's in that third place. Coach Dave in fourth. Buckstein and Coach Dave very close to one another. Bro Cargo look like they are going to secure that sixth place, and Jan Placht Interiors are going to be probably finishing this season at the very back of our team's standings, I'm sorry to say. But anyway, we've seen 12 rounds of racing, some 24. Is it 24? Is it 25 weekends so far? I think it's 25 race weekends so far. We have this one racing weekend left to go before we crown our final champions. It really has been quite the journey. If you do go back in the off season to watch any of the races, do drop a timestamped comment in the comment section of the video. It will really help us with collecting some fine moments and being able to then show our prospective sponsors, not just our title team sponsors next season, but also our potentially we could do race weekend sponsors, standout sponsors for the weekends. For instance, this could be the Coca-Cola Rhone Atlanta round, for example. But that we could do something like that. But make sure that you are finding ways in the off season to support SVR as we obviously make our preparations for an even bigger, even better 2026 VR Sim Racing World Championship. We've got 3 minutes warning then for the race, so I'm going to just give my voice a little break. I hope you don't mind. Give you time to go to info.svr-racing.com, have a browse of what's going on, or you can have a look at svr-europe.printify.me for the store, or just svr-racing.printify.me for the USA and Canada store. So do have a look at those. I will perhaps have a look at it while we're on screen, but let me just have a couple minutes break on the old voice box. Okay, looks like we're ready to go. I'm just going to try and jack this up a little bit because I am expecting things to get a little bit dark for us. So let's get underway then for the race as we look to get everybody ready. It's Senor Fac and Mappy on the grid start of the round, final round of the G1 Championship. And it's dropped the clutch and go, go, go. There goes the Ferrari starting of Red as the Nismo tries to squeeze him out of that opportunity, but Red straight into the lead ahead of Senor Fac with Bijan drawing alongside in the GTR Nismo, but the Porsche longer on the brake pedal into the first corner and Senor Fac holding on to second position on the hard tyres. It's Bijan also on those hard tyres, but Tequila Monkey has moved forward as well, and then I'm expecting chaos as we head on into the switchback section of this Road Atlanta course, and then it is Phil in 10th, Dirtbag Larry in 11th, Focal in 12th position, Nicky at the back, but Red starting on the medium tyres, the softer of the two compounds we're expecting to see today, and then the Ferrari Superpower off the line, he jumps ahead into the lead of this race, and that is going to be a super popular start to the race to see Red ahead of Senor Fac and Bijan snaking around on the exit of turn 7. It's Tequila Monkey in P4, and then you've got Mappy, who was second place down into 4th place, into 5th place even, with Dummy right behind him. Mappy was on the medium tyres but couldn't get the jump off the start in the Audi and boxed out a little bit on the way through. Here comes Dummy then down to the braking zone of the chicane. Dummy on the inside lane will try and find some room, but he has to leave a car width on the inside on the way through the corner. Mappy holding on like an absolute pro. Through comes Flash with Komakopa and the car flashing around in the background. There's a little bit of lights flashing from Dummy as well. Flash is looking for that inside lane. Mappy tries to slot in, and I think Mappy's been hit and punted off the circuit, unfortunately for him. But that was quite a complicated series of events that took place there, and I've got a horrible feeling that that something So Mappy was already off, and I think Dummy holding the inside line, everybody queuing up to pass Mappy, and that is contact from Flash on Mappy, who was absolutely marginal on the corner of the edge of the corner. You'll have to let me know what you think is the rights and wrongs of that that little exchange that we had there. Flash nonetheless is in P6, Dummy's in P5, and just a ram, says Chris. Okay. Jogon Sim, Matt saying, here we go. Looking forward to the final race of the season, absolutely. Senyorfak is in second place, but that was more contact, I believe, certainly from Flash while following another driver. 1.6 seconds, Red's lead sorry, excuse me, I'm just going to try and fire up Hector for you. Let's see if that works for us. No, at the moment it is showing that we've got qualifying only. So I will do my best to refresh what's happening with Hector, but no, I don't unfortunately see Hector working for me anyway right now. It is Bijan in third, with Tequila Monkey chasing down. We've got Dummy in fifth place. Red still leads though on those medium tyres at the start of this one. Komakopa behind Flash in seventh place. There is Uncle Pants in eighth. The two Brokaga Jags with Komakopa, unfortunately, just like Mappy, not able to get the initial bite out of the medium tyres that he was dearly hoping for, as we run then through to down into the double right-hander at the south side of the circuit, at the lowest point, I do believe, of the racetrack. Behind the two Brokagas, we've got Phil, Durbag Larry, Focal, Mappy. Unfortunately, Mappy just qualified so well and has been deposited down to 12th place. We've got Nicky in P13, but Red is leading by now 1.7 seconds and extending the gap out to Senyorfak by a small margin, it must be said. Bijan just about a 1 second ahead of Tequila Monkey. Tequila having to hand over his crown as the S1 champion to Vader right now, unfortunately for him, but he's not been able to pick up the G1 championship this season, but he looks like he's going to go switch codes and go straight into the podium, and that is surely absolutely no mean feat whatsoever. Dummy in P5 on the hard tyres, lacking pace at the moment compared with the cars in front of him, but I think that's down to using those hard tyres on the Lexus. Flash is on the hard tyres also in the slightly more nimble, it must be said, Lamborghini Huracan, but the drivers very familiar with their cars, even the Brokaga team in their Jaguars, who changed mid-season thanks to permission being given to get off the Supra. And they traded in their Supra GT3s for the Jaguar and have been enjoying a much more balanced run, and certainly the top speed has been in a much better place. Let me see if I can't try and fire up Hector once again for you, see if we've actually got onto the race settings. Unfortunately, it looks like Hector is just determined to show us qualifying once again. I think if Matt is watching the stream or listening to the stream, he can perhaps force a restart of Hector as he did last week. Dummy in P5. He is 6.3 seconds away from the lead of the race. But his most important focus is how far away he is from Senyorfak, and he doesn't end up losing 9 points to Senyorfak. That is the only target today for Dummy, because it is all important that he secures the title outright without any arguments whatsoever. Unfortunately for him, he has Flash directly behind him. So we'll see how that runs through. Looks like Uncle Pants has got himself ahead of Komakopa. Into P7 with a little bit more speed at this stage on the same tyres, these two, but Komakopa not quite at one with his car today. I'll give you a little, and just as I say that, Uncle Pants goes off the circuit. Unfortunately, it's that really difficult section of the racetrack through the S's, and I think just stealing a little bit too much. The car got unsettled on the approach here, and he was wide, but he did hold and rescue that one very well. Komakopa will fly by his teammate. I can tell you, unfortunately, Komakopa did run out of fuel today in his earlier race on this channel. That was Dummy paying a penalty, it looks like, and he's given up the P5 to Flash now. So that's a problem for our champion in waiting, the driver with I think it was an 8-point lead over Senyorfak behind. and Uncle Pants has got back by Copa then, the number 38. Of course, the team aren't interested in which driver is likely to prosper here. Uncle Pants possibly just putting up a bit of a defence there, really feeling his grip around the front end of this Jaguar, and I think he's having to move aside here for his teammate. I think he's upset that car slightly. He's been off the circuit and it's just compounding. Phil goes through though. I almost called him Uncle Phil, and I'm thinking about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air right now, but Phil in P8 is chasing down Copa. Dummy's in 6th, Flash is in 5th, Tequila Monkey chasing down Bijan here. Hector correct now, says Matt. Great. Okay, let's give that a go. And there we have it. Thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate that. And we're going to be able to now choose a driver to watch picture in picture, which is always a good thing. Let's head over to one of our drivers who is actually racing with another. You've got Dummy, I think just behind Flash, possibly. Although Flash is not registered on Hector at the moment, so that's probably not the best of driver choices I've made there. Let's go to Dirtbag Larry, another firm fan favourite, and you can watch Dirtbag Larry and his journey as Dummy goes over the grass on the position there. Unfortunately for him, it's Dirtbag Larry in 9th place, and it's Uncle Pants who's dropping back down the order, unfortunately, once again. So Uncle Pants loose on the race track here. Let's have a look at Uncle Pants as he goes into it goes way too hot into the chicane, sadly, and then digs into the gravel, and then has a heck of a job getting out of that gravel as he has a look behind. There's no one waiting behind him, but ahead of him it was Dirtbag Larry chasing down Focal here on the run that you're watching picture in picture. Obviously, it's all important to see the positions in the championship, and we'll have a look at that momentarily. Let's have a look at that right now, as I will bring that up onto your screen, and you can see that as things stand, Dummy would win the championship by just 3 points if he finishes where he is, and so does Senor Fac. However, you've got to fancy Senor Fac would get himself onto the top step of the podium and take that I think at 2 points, maybe even 3 points closer. Dummy has more wins to Senor Fac at this stage, but it is super tight. So Dummy needing to move forward as soon as possible here, just to secure his position in those provisional live standings. And a big thank you to Beragos for building me those live standings, something I've needed in the last 4 years of commentary. I've never had this kind of engagement ability to provide you with live scores as we race. Red leads right at the front of this race by just 0.6 of a second now from Senor Fac, as I think Red's mediums are starting to tail off. In the background, you've got Bijan in 3rd and Tequila Monkey in 4th position. Dummy is in 5th with Flash just behind him now. So it looks like maybe Dummy has been able to get by Flash. I wonder if that was a straightforward penalty trade. Flash looks a little wild going through that particular corner, but I don't think that was down to the change of positions. We won't know, of course, until post-race. But Senor Fac in that 2nd place now, as you watch Larry trying to overcome Focal in the background. Remember, we've also got Kimmy's race. We've also got Delesi versus Team Mega here, and Delesi at the moment with one hand on the constructors title. This is for the lead of the race though on lap 8 with 11 minutes having elapsed so far of the 60. Senor Fac closing in on the back of Red, whose tyres are starting to give up, and he's unable to get quite the traction that he had in the Ferrari out of the slower corners, and that is then building into a problematic situation. I did think it was confetti on the black stripe on the Delesi car. It's actually PlayStation symbols, but has a little confetti-like look about it, which is kind of cool. And we are expecting as well to be a sunset and nighttime condition race, which will be a good time, I think, to be on the medium tyres in the nighttime. Here comes Senor Fac then, absolutely hounding the back of Red, who appears to have, I think, the Italian flag colours on his windshield banner. I thought that was going to be a rainbow, but it's actually, I think, celebrating possibly the Italian Grand Prix or his Italian manufacturer nationality for the Ferrari. Here comes Senor-Fact then, just that power and the slipstream out of the turn 7 and all the way up to the P1 then, through the chicane for the Porsche as we run through. We'll see if Red decides now is a good time to pit. He's feeling like he still needs to run for a few more laps, I think, to keep this one, but quite happy at this stage to not fight too hard, I think. So Senor-Fact finally back into the lead of the race after collecting the pole position, but it took him 9 racing laps to make that happen. Red putting in a fantastic run so far. There is Red. He's collecting new stickers on the car. Every time I look at him, he's got a new sticker sitting there, and he's definitely been customizing this race car. Red wheels, of course, for Red, the number 47, as we've got gold wheels for Tequila Monkey down in 4th place. There he is with the gold spoiler and the gold wheels as the S1 2024 Simracing World Champion. But Tequila Monkey in that P4 with Bijan in between himself and a podium to finish the season. Copa has managed to get by Flash as well, it seems. Let's see. I don't know if that's visible in the replay buffer. My apologies. Looked like someone was maybe off there in the background, but that was Copa already into that position ahead of Flash. So this is 8 tenths of a second here. Flash versus Copa, and that is the only difference make. You can see in your picture-in-picture Larry getting by, I think, the Delesi of Phil. Let's have another look, as it looks like that was possibly. Is this the move? Here it is. Yes, indeed. So this was Larry making his move by Phil, with thanks to a penalty, I believe, as the first of the pit stops has occurred now. That is Dummy dropping down. Why has Dummy dropped down? Has he crashed? Or has he pitted? He's pitted off the hard tyres, and he has crashed. He's damaged the rear wing. And this is huge for the championship now, because that is not a scheduled pit stop. And he cannot fuel to a finish here or use tyres to a finish because he was on the hard tyres to start this race. Let's see if he switched onto the mediums for a light run. He has for a shorter run then, with 45 minutes left to go. My apologies we didn't catch the actual incident there, but Dummy is down in 12th position now, and that, let's have a look at the important championship standings. The live standings here, as things look, Senor-Fact is 6 points in the lead of the championship, but Dummy has 45 minutes to correct that situation. An absolute nightmare scenario for the championship leader, because that is massive. Now he could end up losing this title with an incident there that has cost him his rear wing and an unscheduled pit stop. He can rescue this. He can potentially do 2 medium stints, but there's a big question mark hanging over the number 33. All he has got left now is 45 minutes of qualifying performance to put in to secure the title by the end of today's this fantastic season that we have enjoyed. Mappy pits, that will buy Dummy one more position. Remember, his main fight here is against this leader, Senor-Fact, as Bijan is in 2nd place, also on the hard tyres. Tequila Monkey started on those hards as well. The headlights are on now on the cars, so the sunset is starting to really take effect. Let's join him on board. You can barely see the sunset effect at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it is on its way in a big way. So we'll just see if we've got a better driver to be watching on the picture-in-picture display. Well, I think Dirtbag Larry is still the closest driver to anybody else. He's got Focal not far ahead of him, as far as I can see, as Ruben is joining to cheer on Larry here. Good to see everybody. And there you can see suddenly it is darkening on the racetrack. This is Tequila Monkey, and he is in that P3 right now. Flash in 4th place. Copa running in 5th place, but headed in towards the pit lane off the medium tyres. That is probably the scheduled pit stop then for the medium tyre runner. Focal is in 6th. I think will be pretty surprised to be the lead driver of the 2 mega racing team, and I wonder if later on in the race he would sacrifice a position even if it means sacrificing 2 or 3 so that Dummy can maximise his end result here and possibly save his championship title. The night time is happening before our very eyes with 43 minutes left on the clock. Focal in 5th. There is Dirtbag Larry, just 1.4 seconds behind him in the end of the top 6. We've got Uncle Pants in P7. We know he's been off a couple times, and Phil is chasing him down. Phil is mighty close here to Uncle Pants. Let's switch over to Phil's POV. Well, it's a bit late because he's already getting by, is Phil. And that was a slow exit for Uncle Pants out of the previous corner. You can see what Phil's eyes are doing at the moment. Is he checking his mirrors when he gets by on the straightaway? That was a great shot of a UFO or airline jet over the circuit there for a moment over Atlanta, as he has a look down the inside. No way through at the moment across the Brokaga Jaguar. It's Uncle Pants, 7th place, who goes into the pit lane now and frees up Phil into 7th place. Red, having made his pit stop, come out onto the hard tyres. I'll be surprised if he can one-stop this. In fact, I'd be absolutely blown away if he can one-stop this. But he is now chasing down Phil. And Phil has made a mistake going through turn 1, and Red slides by very, very neatly. Phil on very old tyres, you have to say, going through that turn 1, didn't quite get it hooked up, and Red on the new tyres sailing on by with a great overtake and a well-timed run then. Red in the bright purple 47 into 7th place, your previous leader of the race. It's now a yellow flag on the circuit. Who am I seeing with a problem? I wonder. Let's see if we can't find that particular driver. Be someone ahead of this group. No, I would assume it was Flash who's gone round. Flash has gone round, unfortunately, going through the double right-hander. We'll perhaps try and, now we've located the right driver, we'll try and see exactly what happened. It's just that nasty curb in between turn 6 and turn 7 as he tries to get back on the power then, and Flash has been slow, and we'll see if the driver behind will catch him on the way through. I'm not sure that he will in fact regain back past Flash. No, Flash hanging on then in 4th, but the hard tyres really giving up now with 40.5 minutes left to go. He's gone round for another lap, despite the fact that those hard tyres are not in a good place at all. So very, very difficult portion of the race then for anybody still on their starting tyres. Flash in 4th has dropped 15.6 seconds to Tequila Monkey, which will probably make him sick in his mouth after this season that the two drivers have had together. Focal in P5 is 0.8 of a second, now 0.9 behind Flash. Focal on those old hard tyres as well, and we will wait for all those pit stops to shake out, and then we'll see how the provisional standings look. Red in P7, Phil in P8, Dummy trying to pump in those laps, and look, he's put in a fastest lap of anybody, a 1:19.9 on those medium tyres, while the car is a little lighter on fuel, while he's in the cooler temperatures of the night time. That will hopefully, for his sake, help him to put in those fast times. He switched back onto the hard tyres as we get back to sunrise. In fact, I believe it was a helicopter rather than a UFO or even an airliner. It's Mappy in 11th, and what could have been for Mappy in the Audi R8. Overnight temps 19.5 degrees Celsius or 67 Fahrenheit from Joe. Thank you very much for that very precise information. Appreciate that no end. Uncle Pants in P12. I didn't know you could actually control the temperature on GT7, only the sky conditions as far as I knew, but certainly that's what Joe is reading from his race information, and that's great to see. Maybe it's not controlled, maybe it is just the nightfall effect. This is Uncle Pants chasing down Mappy then, 4P11, the two drivers on new tyres. Dummy's in 9th versus Senor Fak, who leads the race. Let's check in with Senor Fak's tyres at the moment. He is on the cusp of hitting the canvas, I think, on that front left. Does he feel like it's time to pit? He's going to go on by and try another lap on them, as is Bijan, but he's gone into the pit lane. Tequila Monkey, though, takes now 2nd position and will ride the wall of death on the left-hand side of the kart on this final run, I think, on the starting hard tyres. Jann in to the pit lane, Flash on his way in as well as that is Focal driving by, and Dirtbag Larry with him. Is still watching Phil picture in picture. Have we got a better driver there? I think possibly Dirtbag Larry is probably the better one for us to be watching. Let's tune in to Dirtbag Larry's channel. Here we go, and you can see he is chasing Focal down hard, and we'll see if he can get by here. So Red in P5, just behind this group. There he is in the background through the S's. Number 12, Dirtbag Larry, up as high as P4, and he's been a little bit kinder on his front left, but the mid-engined Audi R8 is hurting its rear left quite considerably. So it looks to me very much like you wouldn't want to be out onto another lap after this one. No sleep till Brooklyn couldn't be more appropriate in these nighttime conditions under the passenger door side there of Larry's Audi R8 in the Coach Dave Academy car. Let's see if he now goes into the pit lane. Full clear sky, which means it will be a chilly night. No cloud cover to protect the temperatures, and we will see how long the nighttime lasts through the course of our race. Miri is joining in to cheer on Larry, and I think just in time to see Larry head in towards the pit lane. Here he goes, just behind Focal as well. So Red will pick up another couple of positions then, and he will go back into P3 now with Tequila Monkey in the pits, his teammate. So he goes into second place, does Red. He was one of the first to stop off the medium tyres. He's now onto his hard tyres. It looks to me like he'll be running 2 sets of hard tyres possibly through this race for the most conservative of the available options. How about this for Senor Fact though? He's gone to an 18th lap on this hard tyres. Surely it's time to get off those tyres. His lap times have been creeping up here. 121.6 twice, 121 nearly 121.8 on lap 17. So tyres getting a little bit of a limiting factor here. Now he turns to the right, stays to the right hand side of that pit lane entry, the track wanting to spit you out over the line and pick you up a penalty, but our leader, Senor Fact, pits. So Red, our former leader of the race, who stormed from row 2 into the lead, will, I think, pick up potentially another place. He's running, well, that last lap though was a 23.0, so he may have done himself out of a potential place here and an undercut on the kart. Looks like for a moment he was headed in towards pit lane, but no. Phil's going round again. I don't know if Phil's going to try and one-stop this race as well, but how about that for Phil and that tyre life. Red then comes through turn 1, and I think he has managed to take that position off Senor Fact, who's refueling still. He has indeed. So Red back out in the lead of the race. Phil hasn't pitted yet. Bijan is in 3rd place, and Senor Fact is out of the pit lane on the medium tyres, and I think that would be an absolute miracle if he can finish the race on this set of tyres. Let me have a look at what his fuel estimate is. Show fuel consumption I've got here. That sees him running out of fuel on lap 20. So that is not updating. Hopefully we will get an update on that one. Hopefully that will change for us momentarily then for Senor Fact, and we'll get an update as just how many laps he has got left in the car. Up ahead though, Phil is fighting with Bijan. Phil has been overtaken by Bijan thanks to the new tyres. Bijan with the brand new mediums, Phil on very, very old hard tyres, and I think he's going to be lucky to make the pit lane. The last pixel has disappeared off his fuel tank on the bottom left of the screen next to the tyre display. Is Phil going to hit the pit lane, the fuel limit before he hits the pit lane? In we go, stealing a little bit of apex on the way in. Wow, that was absolutely masterful. I'm pretty sure that is going to say 0 as he crosses in. 0 litres of fuel remaining, and Dummy is back to P4. So let's have a look at those live standings then. now that we have got the pit stops out of the way. That means that Dummy is now in the lead of the championship by 7 points, with Senor only 1 place in front of him. Remember though, Red will pit much earlier than Senor and might be using one more set of harder compound tyres than the Croatian ace in the Delesi car. And then we'll have a look at the fuel estimate. Now that we've got that in, that looks to be the end of lap 31 that Senor is fueled to. I still think that is probably a little bit too short for the overall race. I think if we've had 20 laps in 32.5 minutes, I think 31 is just on the bubble. So I think he may need to pit again, but I really am not sure. Let me know what you think. Certainly, I'll tell you, for absolute definite, Dummy will be pitting again, looking at his fuel tank and tyres remaining to him. Is it time to pit early, though, before the tyres completely run out on you? That is the question that's always in the mind of the drivers. Is it worth running as light as possible, as long as possible, or are you actually just going to end up costing yourself time in the long run? Always a difficult calculation. Tequila Monkey is behind Dummy by 3 seconds in 5th place right now. Comacopa back into 6th as his underlying pace, despite the left-hand blinkers being on, is in 6th place. Flash is in 7th on new hard tyres. I'm sure will still feature later on in the race, with Dirtbag Larry in that 8th place now. We've got Uncle Pants and Focal running 9th and 10th. This is Focal on his new medium tyres. This is essentially what Dummy's strategy was going to be. If you look at Focal, who started on the hard tyres, switched to the mediums a couple of laps ago, and then may be able to get away with one more set of mediums later on. Dummy, I think, will have to use hard, medium, hard to see this race out with a 2-stop strategy, and as usual in the Lexus, using an extra set of harder compound tyres than his main competition, I believe. It's going to be really fascinating. I think most drivers will still need to pit one more time before the end of the race. I haven't seen anybody with a huge amount of fuel on board. Focal perhaps has one of the largest amounts of fuel on at the moment. We've got Phil in 12th. He was the longest stop out there. Phil in 12th place, then back out on the medium tyres, and he is now 43.5 seconds away from the lead. We've got Nicky in P13, tremendously competitive run here, just still, I think, 1 lap down Nicky, the only lapped driver after some 29 minutes. And then we've got Red. Nicky's obviously had some problems. Red leads by 3 seconds and is running in the low minute 121s right now. Contrast that to Bijan, who is running in the high 120s, high to medium 120s, Senor Fac, the very low 120s. And we have an upside down pace differential then for the grid, the yellow lights denoting the Porsche here in the GT3, as Ashley's cheering on Larry as well. Larry gets so much support, not just from people that share his surname, but from a lot of the members of the league as well. We're right behind Larry this year, after he shared with us something very important that he's going through. Dummy in P4 now pits with half the race left to run, just under, with a long stint and left to go for the championship leader. And he's going to be very nervous at this stage, I'm sure, hoping to hang on to this title. But he will drop behind Comacopa, behind Flash, possibly even behind Dirtbag Larry. Almost certainly, if he's going to refuel to the end of the race, it's going to take a heck of a long time then for Dummy, who is refueling. Let's see, he's gone for 66 litres of fuel here. So we will see what that takes him to. I will just tune into channel Dummy, and we'll see what he is fueled to the finish. Let's have a look at him and try and get a read on that in a few moments. He comes out of the pits 2.2 seconds behind Mappy, but all the way down in P11 is Dummy right now. Let's have a look. It's going to take a lap, I think, to get that back for me. from Dummy's feed, but we'll watch him as he starts to feel around on the car, see what it can do now. He's put a set of medium tyres on, and I'm concerned that they are not going to make the end of this race. Those medium tyres, half the race distance, with a lot of fuel on board as well, is concerning, I think. This stage, Niki Lauda in 13th, but Red leads by just 1.8 seconds now as Bijan's pace is improving and improving on the medium tyres. It will start to drop off soon though. I do think he is nearing the end of his medium stint. Still haven't got an update, unfortunately, for you on Dummy's fuel consumption. We'll maybe wait till he goes over the line, but we'll see how many laps we think will the race eventually be. If there's anybody in the live chat who can do lap maths or math very quickly, and you can project how many laps you think this race is going to run to, please help me out. I'm only a simple commentator and I have to talk the whole time that we're on air, and I can't be furiously doing math in my head. Now, Dummy has fueled to lap 30. I think that says lap 35 or 6 he's fueled to. That might be the end of the race. So it might be that he has enough left in the tank, but can he run those tyres to a finish as we go back to Dummy, because he is actually about to put an overtake on here on Phil. You've got him picture in picture. You will have when I press the play button. There we go. And it is pitch black now in Road Atlanta. Dummy with a busy track in front of him, and he'll be looking. It's very difficult for the drivers at this stage to yield to much faster drivers because it's so hard to read when it's so dark. All you can see is headlights, and unless you're talking with Hector throughout, then it is very tricky. And then we're trying to get through the chicane. It was a little bit of paint traded, but they're both red and black cars, so I think we'll be all right. We'll get away with it. Rizbak saying, just joining, there was a sprint, right? Any idea of the points per team? You have to rewind the stream right now as you watch it and find the sprint results. They were up for a while, I believe, but no, I don't have a point tally in my mind. Someone else might have for the sprint race, but I'm pretty sure that in the combined teams championship that Delessi are going to be taking this title. I'm pretty sure that here in the G1 championship that Delessi are going to take the title as well. Here comes Dummy. Sorry, that Kimmys are going to take the title in the end as well, with both drivers up inside the top 4 or 5 places. I'm projecting by the end of the race. Dummy is catching his teammate here, Focal, and he's overtaken Uncle Pants smoothly enough. There goes Red into the pit lane. That gives Tequila Monkey a bit of breathing room. He gets up to 3rd now. This is Focal versus Dirtbag Larry. Focal's got the inside line heading into the chicane, and then he'll have to leave a little bit of room, but Larry wisely leaves that racing room, doesn't want to run into him. Is Larry actually headed in towards the pit lane? He's not, but he's giving up a little bit of real estate on the racetrack, and he's going to have a brace of mega racing cars to deal with here now. This is treacherous stuff. You can hear the tyres squealing. You can see Focal is struggling as Larry gets back by. Dummy tries the overtake round the outside. It will switch to the left in a moment, and I think both cars making contact. Larry hanging on fabulously there from Larry. That was just amazing control. I wonder if he did end up with a bit of contact in the end. So as he turns left, he leaves room, but then Dummy sneaks it down the inside. There is the contact, and then he's offline, but he held on to that one very well. And I'll probably give a style point for that one from Larry. But in 9th place then, he's losing out. Oh, there is Uncle Pants backing his way out of the double right at the south side of the circuit. 24 minutes remain to us. Bijan leads ahead of Senor Fak after that pit stop from Red. The gap now is just 0.6 of a second at the front of our race, which is insane right now. 18 to 19 laps left, says Joe Gon Sims. So Dummy is pitting for a 3rd time by my calculations. I think I said 35 or 36 he was fueled to. That is far fewer than what is remaining. Let's have a look at those provisional standings, but bearing in mind that that potentially we've got Dummy pitting again, but this shows Dummy at the moment, as things stand, 3 points in the lead of the championship. It is ferociously tight. I think Tequila Monkey is absolutely fine right now. He just needs to stay near to or within sight of Bijan, and he's not too far away right now, though. Yeah, just 2 places back from Bijan, but we'll leave that up for the time being, I think. And if you've got any requests, I've only got a few drivers actually Twitch streaming right now that I can show. I've got Phil, Larry, Dummy, Bijan only that I can show you picture in picture. If you've got a request, let me know. So Joe saying, sorry, that's not right. Okay, give me an update, Joe. As soon as you have it, that'll be awesome. Bijan, 0.9 of a second away in front of Senor Fat. Comacopa pits with 2 litres of fuel remaining to him. As it is getting darker and dark. Well, it is staying dark. I think we're about to see sunrise in the final portion of our race. Senor Fak with just about 23% of his fuel tank left, and I think his tyres will run out just about on that point. Dummy is in P6, our title leader and main contender here for the outright G1 title. This is one of the few of our titles left to decide at the final race of the season, and that is great. After what is now a 13-round season, to still have the drivers going head-to-head at the end is just brilliant, and an absolute testament to the competition levels here in the GT3 categories. 20 minutes remaining. I have 14 to 15 laps to go. Okay. So that is going to be lap 43-44 if I'm correct, and I think that means Dummy is definitely under-fueled to the end of the race. We'll have a look at Red, who I'm assuming now will be fueled to an absolute finish. Let's maybe have a look at Red's fuel estimate. He's showing lap 37, so that still seems wrong. That still seems light to me for Red, but let's see what happens. I would have thought Red would have fueled up to the finish of this race, but it is just a guesswork in the pit lane. Unfortunately, the drivers have no way of showing exactly how many laps are going to be remaining to them because it is time limited, so you never really know how much fuel you're going to need. Who else has pitted potentially to the end of the race? I'm just going to have a quick look through the order. We've got Dummy there in P6. So I don't think he's fueled to the end. I've got Dirtbag Larry, likewise in 7th, Focal in 8th, Phil in 9th. Comacopa may well be fueled to a finish. Here he is in the racing medium tyres. He's 1 minute and 6 away from the lead. He's got an 18 second, which is a pit stop at least between himself and Phil. But let's have a look at Comacopa. He's the guy with the most amount of fuel left in the car, and he has pitted right to that money point on lap 44. So that's the amount of fuel I think we're looking for from all of our drivers at this stage, some 85% on their fuel tank. So that is going to be all important now as we close this race out. I think the championship provisional standings are going to be absolutely essential. Mappy's in 11th after starting in 2nd place, and then subject to contact with Flash on that opening couple of laps and binning him down to the back of the grid, unfortunately. Uncle Pants is in 12th, Nicky Lauda in 13th. Unfortunately, we can't get a great view of the cars at this portion of the racetrack because it is very, very dark. Senor Vac, I think, may have just passed Bijan, or be passing Bijan. This is Senor Vac looking for that wide line through the corner and then better traction. This is how this has got to us as he then dives down the inside into the chicane. He's got slightly better tyres. Well, actually, Bijan's tyres are complete junk now, especially that front right. He's pitting and on his way in. He needs to be really careful not to go over that line. Senor Vac leads the race then, and as he crosses the line, that is going to change the provisional standings on your screen, as far as I'm aware. Or do I have to click off and back on it again? I think no. Let's have another look, because that is a point, set of points gain for Senor-Fact. That puts him within 1 of Dummy at this stage, and I think Dummy and Senor-Fact both be pitting one more time. Senor-Fact 7.3 seconds in the lead, 1 point off the title. Obviously he can't control scoring any more than winning the race, but he'll be relying on Dummy. Dummy's target then will be 5th place. I think if he finishes possibly 6th, he's okay. By the look of if there is 1 point difference between 5th and 6th, he'll be okay. If they finish level on points, Dummy will win on win countback, but it will be a tie finish for the points. Please note that the sprint race points are missing from the live point calculation, says Joe. Okay, thank you. It was all going so well, and I suppose I should have I should have had my suspicions. I forget now, but I think that means Senor-Fact is actually on for the title. Joe, if you wouldn't mind, would you just put the point additions into the live chat from the sprint race, please? I cannot do this amount of maths in one go on the stream. I'm hopeless at maths at the best of times. So if you can let me know what the point count is for Dummy relative to Senor-Fact, just the difference between the two, for example, then I can more easily guess where the title stands. That would be awesome. Or anybody else, doesn't have to be Joe. Blue flags then for Senor-Fact as he is catching, I think that must be Focal's. Is that Focal? In the mega kart. I don't think it can be Dummy all the way back there. Tequila Monkey is in 2nd place. He's got plenty of audience watching as well. Kim, chief among them, I'm sure. And I believe Carol watches very frequently from Kimmy's preschool, nursery and preschool. Got hello to any of the kids watching from Kimmy's preschool as well. It'd be great to hear or see any pictures of them watching. That'd be awesome. Flash is in P3. And Red is in 4th place, waiting to see if, well, certainly Flash will be pitting momentarily. We've got Dummy then running out of fuel and tyres at this stage, and he is 28.1 seconds away from Senor-Fact. But more importantly, he's a bunch of points lacking. I think he didn't win the sprint, so I think Senor-Fact might have outscored Dummy in the sprint and be pushing this even closer. So I will await any confirmation. I won't make the mistake of announcing a champion, because we never know what's going to happen with post-race penalties or steward inquiries or possible removals from results from people. Kim is cheering on Tequila here, and he would be so overjoyed to win, I'm sure, today, if at all possible. Tequila Monkey has yet to win on this season. Such is the amazing driving from Dummy, from Senor-Fact, and the one-time winner Flash. But our S1 champion has yet to win a race in the G1 division after 12 attempts. Let's see if Tequila Monkey can do it today. He will have to overcome Senor-Fact if he's going to do it. Red is looking really strong for Kimmy's, and Kimmy's P1 and P2 right now could be sealing the title in this G1 division as well, and that would be incredibly well received from the team and the preschool as well. As the helicopter watches on, Red is 2.9 seconds ahead of Dummy, who is likely to be pitting pretty soon. I think Red is probably headed towards pit road as well in a moment. Dummy's running out of tyres on that front left. Is it time to pit? He's hanging it out again, and I think he has to when it comes to this difference. He's got 9.7 seconds back to Senor-Fact, who has pitted to the end of the race. Senor-Fact is going to be your net leader with the three drivers in front of him still to pit as well. There is Dirtbag Larry in 5th place with Bijan, fresh out of the pit lane and just stealing a bit of apex on the way through. Turn 11, the final corner. 14 minutes left to go to decide the champion and the championship positions of this G1 13 round championship. And it still hangs in the balance between our Senor Fac and Dummy. So Vicinity says Fac won 1 more point in the sprint. So that is tremendous information. Thank you, Vicinity. So as things stand then, by the look of things, Dummy hasn't pitted yet, so we will wait to show that once Dummy has made his pit stop. Senor Fac has to finish level on points as we see it, and then you add 1 and he will win by 1 point. If they are tied at the end of this championship, Dummy will win with the number of wins he has to his name. Tequila Monkey then pits to refuel and get a new set of tyres for the end of the race. It's lap 34. It's 12.5 minutes left to go before the checkered flag falls on not just our race but our season. Bijan is chasing down Dirtbag Larry, but Dirtbag Larry pits right now and heads on in. Dummy's in the pits, Tequila Monkey's in the pits. Everybody is getting ready then for the final stint of the race. Senor Fac is in second place, 11 seconds behind Red, who I believe still has to pit. Could run long enough to fit a set of softs at the end and play a bit of a joker role in the end of this race and have a lot of pace in hand over everybody else. Red then 11.7 seconds ahead and snaking his way out of the turn 6 and 7, followed by Senor Fac. It only takes one momentary slip, one moment over a curb, and you are out of the points or heading into the barrier with huge damage. There is still so much to play for, but if we look at things, we will wait for Red to make his pit stop, and then we'll take a look at those championship points once again. Forgive me, but this is what it is all about after all, is securing the title. Vicinity watching on, hoping his teammate Dummy can do the job. I don't know if Vicinity is engineering for the team today or it's Pat Finn, but he's certainly been engineering as the sun starts to rise on the final few laps of our fantastic race here. Dummy is 36 seconds away from Red. Make that about 26 or so away from Senor Fac. And it's still his outlap as he's on the medium tyres, but I'm anticipating possibly a late race soft tyre sprint from Red. Here he is. 10 seconds the difference between himself and Senor Fac. Of course, there's a big win bonus in terms of points difference, so that is massive for Senor Fac if he can win this race, do the absolute important thing that he was required to do today, which was to take home more points than Dummy and to secure the biggest amount of points possible during the race. Didn't get it done in the sprint, but may have done enough. Here is Tequila Monkey running in P3, and he's still got Bijan right with him. Flash further back in 5th place. Dummy's in 6th. We've got Komakopa in the golden Jaguar for Bro Cargo, the number 72 here, signing off as if he was a champion, coated in gold for Komakopa. I think saying farewell to the league. Hopefully it is au revoir rather than a permanent goodbye. But Red now finally pits. Red is in the pits for his final pit stop. Will we see him fit a set of softs potentially and really go aggressive? Dirtbag Larry's in 8th, Focal in 9th, Mappy in 10th, and we have Uncle Pants 11th, Phil in 12th, fighting with Uncle Pants, very close with one another here, before going back to Nicky Lauda in P13, trying his absolute damnedest to bring home the points for the Bergstein Transport Service cars today. I think that puts everybody having now pitted, and we will have a look at those championship live standings as things are, as Hector does his calculations to give us those standings. That will show that is astonishing. So if things finish like they are right now, that's Dummy winning by a win countback on equal points, if you remember to add that 1 point for Senor Fac. But it is all provisional, but wow. I imagine both drivers and engineers will be piling in the race objections and watching the race back 6 or 7 times to see if there's any infraction they can score over each other. But that would leave our two championship protagonists tied on points. Dummy could help his case significantly by catching Red. Red has actually put on medium tyres. Dummy's on medium tyres too. So Dummy could really do himself a massive favour here and underline his championship victory by securing 5th. But as it stands, I think Dummy is still world champion. But it would be on equal points with Senor Fak. Absolutely insane competition this season, and what a headache this race has been for Dummy. Here he goes through the S's, then in the Lexus. He's hated and loved this pig of a car, and I think if he can secure the title, he won't want to drive anything else anymore. But Red is in that P5 and catching Flash. And Flash will see a Kimi's Racing Team purple Ferrari behind him, and I think the red mist will start to collect around Flash's eyes, and we will perhaps see him fighting as he does with Tequila Monkey. I'm sure he will give it absolutely everything as Red now starts to catch Flash here. Flash on medium tyres that are quite used. Red has a chance now to take 4th place in the final race of the season. Here he comes into the chicane. Flash picking up a little bit of dirt. Red taking it a little bit more circumspect across the curbs, just being that little bit more careful and letting Flash just extend that gap slightly. A reminder that the drivers are on target to finish level on points at the head of the championship. If you're just joining us, it's lap 39 and 6 3/4 minutes still to go of this absolute epic day night day transition Road Atlanta season finale. We finally got the time working nicely in the lobbies, so we can see these great effects as Red is putting in personal best times. Senor Fak cannot do any better than he's doing right now. He can try and get fastest lap. Dummy has fastest lap at the moment. How close has Senor Fak been on fastest lap? 19.6, Dummy 19.4. It is still very, very close between these two as Red continues then up the hill to try and catch Flash and find his way by as much as he possibly can. This is a significant challenge for Red. One of our youngest racers, Red, but not lacking in skill at all. Bright red wheel rims for the Ferrari driver. Now he's looking aggressive, going through that final corner. Dummy doing his best to follow him through. It's lap 40. Just 5.5 minutes left to go. The minutes ticking by super fast now. The laps are short anyway, but absolutely it could still anybody's this race in the midfield here. Tequila Monkey's in second. We'll go up and have a look at Bijan. That is a 2.5 second gap. Senor Fak completely checked out at the front of the race, but it is massively important what happens with Red, with Flash, with Dummy as we close up the end of this this endurance race. A hint perhaps that Flash was just on the dirt on the exit of turn 7. Looks like we've got somebody in the pit lane, but I'm not sure entirely who that is. Not reading it on the list, so it could be Uncle Pants, but Hector not telling me who's currently in the pit lane. We'll have a look, see if we can find out. It's Nicky Lauda. It's Nicky Lauda who was in the pits, so he's not connected to Hector either at the moment, unfortunately for us. Here is Flash, followed by Red, followed by Dummy, and Red not really able to gain a lot of time here on Flash, who is driving some impeccable laps at the end of this race out in clear air. Never a problem. The speed that Flash has when he has some clear track, for sure. It's lap 41. Senor Fak ahead of Tequila Monkey and Bijan. That looks to be, in all likelihood, the members of the podium today. But Dummy, a reminder about those championship live standings. You have to add 1 to Senor Fak's championship total here because he's scored one more in the sprint, as Vicinity tells us there in the live chat. All things will be provisional, and we will secure and announce our champions, of course, at the on social media after the season has been declared. 0.8 of a second now between Red and Flash. Dummy catching here, and there's a lot still left to run in the final 3 minutes. So we're getting to, I want to say, 3 remaining laps by the look of things. Dummy is really catching Red. Dummy's on the medium tyres, not really saving them here. I think he's okay to the finish, but certainly into the second half of his front left tyres where Rate Empire cheering on Senor Fak. Lots of Delesi regulars are here, of course. I think that might be possibly, sometimes we get the G2 drivers tuning in because their race is 10 minutes shorter or thereabouts. Heading in, and these 3 have just got closer and closer, but Red has a penalty. Red has a penalty, which will be paid on the way up the hill here. That's huge. That is absolutely massive for the championship. That's at least an extra point or 2 for Dummy. Then as he passes, I will probably have to reset the situation on the live standings. I will let that circulate for a moment and recalculate. But that puts Dummy in P5, 4 places back from Senor Fak. And every turn of the wheel is a high pressure moment now for the drivers. Let's see how that looks. That is a 2-point clear, make that 1 point clear in the end. But as I say, all things provisional before the end of the season has been processed by our independent stewards, who will run this to a finish. It's been so great to be part of this season with everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And there goes Dummy, flying by Flash. What is that about? I don't think Flash has ever given up a position that easily in his life. So what is happening here? That was a big, big slide for Flash. And his left rear has gone. I think, well, it looked like it was an easy job, but there it was in a second slide from Flash in the end. Dummy goes by. Not much else Flash can do about it. And Dummy gains an extra position then. And that is, again, really important for the title. So we'll do a recalculation of the live points, but Dummy is eventually finding his way into a position where this title could go his way. I'm not sure that has updated actually. We'll wait again a little bit longer to reposition that, but Dummy is now clear, 1 second clear of P5 Flash. As we have a look, I still don't think that point total has updated, but Red now has the chance to try and pressurize Flash, and we saw the rear let go on Flash twice through this point on the track, this sector on the track last time round. The race is about to finish for several drivers, I feel fairly certain to say, as Red and Flash will fight over this final position. There is Flash just completely wide again, blocking the track somewhat as he tries to rejoin, and Red has to pause on his way through. Looks like Komakopa is going to be the first of the finishes in 7th and Dirtbag Larry in 8th. I'm not quite sure how this one is going to finish up between Flash and Red. Senor Fak is powering forward. He's got 1 car in front. That's Uncle Pants in front of him as they come to the end of this race. It looks to me like Dummy is going to clear the championship, provisionally at least. Senor Fak could not have done more today. He got the pole position. He has been absolutely amazing, and he wins the final round of the season for Porsche, for Delesi out there by 15 clear seconds. What a finish. What a race from Senor Fak in the end. Here comes Tequila Monkey, who's going to hold on just about into second place ahead of Bijan in third, your final podium of the season. And then as far as my calculations are concerned, wow, okay, that's a stylish way of finishing. 3 style points for for you in that case. Oh, my apologies. It looks like everything's gone on my screen, but we timed out in the end. That was Red fighting with Flash at the end of the race, but ultimately I think Dummy has just done enough to secure the championship there by a single point potentially. It's Senor Fact, it's Tequila Monkey and Bijan your podium. Dummy fourth, Flash fifth, just ahead of a sliding Red who picked up some style points in the end there, crossing the line sideways. Komakopa seventh, Debaglari eighth, Focal, Mappy, Phil, Uncle Pants and Nicky Lauda completing the grid for our final G1 race of the season. Congratulations to the podium. I think provisional congratulations to Dummy, but we will, as I say, announce the winners at the end. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been a hell of a season. Tune in to the channel, or subscribe to the channel, I should say, for our post-season activity, hopefully. And don't forget the G2 race on Thursday that will come out on the channel at 7 p.m. UK time on Thursday evening. Thanks, everybody. It has been such a great time to spend with you. There's a new button underneath the videos today, as well as the tips and the like. There's a new hype button. It'd be great if one or two of you would hit that hype button. It really helps us grow the attention on SVR. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for your support, and we will catch you all on the next race day.